Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly predictions video for this week's upcoming episode of The Walking Dead Season 4. This one will be for The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 8, the mid-season finale, which is called Too Far Gone. Okay, and as always, my predictions videos do contain spoilers for those of you who have not seen The Walking Dead up to present date and time. So in other words, if you have not seen all the way up to The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 7, including that, this will contain spoilers for those. Of course, doing predictions for next week's episode, so this is not really spoilers per se. We're predicting and giving some ideas on what we think is going to happen. We don't know for sure. I don't have any inside information. Just basically looking at the promos, the description, and making some predictions on what we think is going to happen and what I think is going to happen in this week's upcoming episode, Too Far Gone. So, the mid-season finale already, pretty crazy that it's gone by that quickly. I mean, me personally, the time has just flown by for this half of The Walking Dead Season 4. Have really enjoyed it. Some people seem to have enjoyed the part at the prison with Rick and the group and the infection that was spreading the illness more so than the parts with the governor. Me personally, I'm actually the opposite. I did enjoy those a lot. Those were great and everything, but I actually have enjoyed the reintroduction of the governor even more, even though, of course, I like the characters of the prison better. The governor's obviously, your villain, your bad guy, so to speak. But I really found it interesting to see how the governor has joined Martinez's group and essentially taken it over from him. Very, very exciting stuff. But of course, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on how I felt about the previous episodes, just watch the reviews. I'll put the link for last week's episode, episode 7. Review for that link will be in the description so you guys can hear what I think about the governor's takeover of Martinez's group. Loved it. Awesome stuff. So as great as that was, this episode right here, now that was a great builder because this episode right here, Too Far Gone, looks like it's probably going to be the most exciting episode of The Walking Dead maybe ever, maybe the most exciting we've ever had. Because when you look back at the Walking Dead television series, what you'll notice is there are not actually too many big battle survivor versus survivor group type situations. I mean, season 2 we had Rick with maybe Dave and Tony in the bar, and that whole thing was pretty exciting. We had the ending of that with Shane, and that, but that was like a one-on-one type deal. And then, of course, in season 3, we started to get more into the whole survivor group versus group type thing. But the ending of that, where they actually did, go to war, so to speak, a lot of people were disappointed with it. So I'm really glad that they're sort of, leaving that as what it was and bringing the governor back with a new group and sort of giving him a second shot at the prison since it didn't work out well the first time. Now, this one here, of course, he's got the tank. He's got the advantage there with the tank operator. Huge advantage. He's got the element of surprise, which he did not have in the end of Season 3. They knew he was coming at the end of Season 3. Right now, they have no idea that the governor's coming. They've just been dealing with this illness. Probably some of the group is still sick, is probably still not feeling very well. I'm talking about Glenn, Sasha, some of the others. They're probably not in the type of shape they should be in if they want to defend the place. Herschel, of course, him and Michonne, where they're at right now, the governor, from the way it looks, he's there right now by himself. He's probably going to leave, of course, right? And then he'll come back and try to, reason with Rick, tell him to back down. Otherwise, he's going to just run the fences over and just basically bring the whole place down. So man, I'll tell you, this promo, I'll also put the link in the description to it, looks like it looks like it's going to be the most exciting episode of Walking Dead we've ever had. It really does look like it's going to be better than the season 3 finale. And all this build up from both sides. Rick's group at the beginning of the season was really strong, had a lot more members. The illness has killed a lot of them, weakened the whole group as entirely because you have certain members that are sick. Carol's gone, another person that could at least fire a gun, and it ended up being really tough when you look at what she ended up doing in season 4. And really, this one right here feels like the governor. It felt like he had the upper hand too with Woodbury because he had the numbers, but he did not have the element of surprise. And when you're defending a place like that, strategy wise, the person who's defending usually will have the advantage. However, the attacker could have the advantage because they have the element of surprise, and sometimes the element of surprise can outweigh the advantage of being in a defensive position. For example, at the prison they'll have the walls, they'll have all these things that they can use for defense, and the governor's men on the outside would be firing at them, but they would not really have as much protection, for example, like a brick wall or these types of things from inside the prison, and certain levels where they'll have a better view to be able to shoot down with leverage and things like that. Shooting up is more difficult from the outside. But if they're not expecting it, and the governor just rolls in and that type of thing, then it could be, he definitely could have the advantage here. And it looks like it's going to be something like that, although it does seem that he's going to be giving Rick the opportunity to possibly surrender, but obviously it doesn't look like that's going to happen in the promo, because you can see Tyrese running and gunshots going off and all these different types of things happening. The governor's got blood on his face. Herschel doesn't seem to be prepared and looks like he's going to go down. Man, this episode looks crazy. So to talk about the promo, again, link will be in the description for that. Let's see. We find out basically from it, obviously the governor wants the prison. He knows it's a safe place. He talks to his new group into it. They've been losing members from the walkers, or at least they think. Megan almost got it, from that one walker, so he doesn't, he wants to protect her. So now he's got the motivation to want to do it. It's not just revenge. It's about protecting her and keeping up his promise and the ones he cares about, even though there's so few. He wants to keep them safe, as well as probably himself too, because he is selfish too as well. So talks about the peace of mind, the walls, the fences, all that. They seem happy from when he walks in and he sees it. He doesn't know all the things they've been through, of course, but they look to be happy to him, right? And then basically we see him on top of the tank. We see all of the trucks or whatever the people are in, and the doors are open and they've got all their guns pointed, and it looks like they have Rick's group outnumbered in terms of fighters quite a bit, especially with how, and it feels strange because earlier on in the season, to look at how things have changed, the governor was alone. He had nobody. He was probably, in danger of Michonne finding him and killing him. And now Rick's group has lost all these characters. They've lost all this manpower. Half of them are sick at this very moment, and they don't really have that many fighters ready to go. And here comes the governor with a tank and all these different things. So, oh man, this looks like it's going to be something. I'm just like, I'm more excited for this episode probably than any other episode we've had of The Walking Dead ever. Someone, I'm not sure who it is in the promo, says, "I can end this right now." It sounds like Carl to me, but I don't. It sounds like Carl, but I can't say for sure because sometimes my ear's not the best. I listened to it a few times in the promo. Let me know who you guys think it is, if it is Carl or somebody else getting a little trigger happy, so to speak, and get ready to fire off before he probably should, because it seems there's only a few of them out there, and the governor's got so many people with him right then and there. Then of course it says some will fall. We see a bunch of quick flash scenes and stuff. Governor blood on his face. Herschel looking like he's about to get shot or try to surrender, and maybe it won't work. All of these different crazy scenes. Tyrese getting shot at. Daryl's in there with the gun ready to go. Rick's there. Looks like he's in jeopardy because he's kind of standing out front in the courtyard. Oh man, it looks so exciting. So of course the mid-season finale, I'm sure we're going to end on a bang. I hope what they don't do is what they did last season, which is leave it at a cliffhanger where it's like a really bad cliffhanger where we have no idea what's going to happen. I hope that there is a good amount of action in this. It looks like there's going to be, and that by the end of this episode, Rick's group has basically either retreated or seemingly won. One of the two. They've either totally lost or totally won. I want to see the battle resolve within the mid-season finale. Will they do that? Probably not. They'll probably leave it at a cliffhanger to make us all come back and get the biggest ratings they've ever had, in February when the season returns. But I really hope it's not very cliffhanger-ish, cliffhangery. There's a made-up word that makes sense in this situation. I really hope it isn't, because I really like to see the resolution of the battle during that episode, and then if Rick's group are going to run or whatever's going to happen, like it seems they may have to, then we see them start to run off as we see all the deaths. So it sounds like there's going to be quite a few character deaths. I'll probably do an episode in particular, not an episode, a video in particular, talking about who I think is going to die in particular, going down the list in detail, because that's long enough to be its entire own video. And also doing one talking about whether or not the governor will fire at Michonne and Herschel, or particularly Michonne. So I'll leave that for its own video, give my thoughts on that in its own video. To mention quickly, I don't think he's going to fire at her, because if you guys remember from Season 3, he seemed very adamant that he wanted to capture her so that he could torture her. Merle, too, talking about him doing things to her, you know, this kind of thing. A quick death in a zombie apocalypse. See, sometimes zombie apocalypse life can be worse than death, right? Torture is worse than death, I would say, depending on who the torturer is and what's happening, but probably in most cases, torture is worse than death. So I don't think he's going to want to just shoot her down really quickly and let her off the hook. Plus, he would give up the element of surprise, and he would, because they would know they're under attack type of thing, and he would put himself in some kind of danger, even though Herschel's not one to really going to be able to catch him or anything. Rick is fairly close in the vicinity, and I don't think he wants to give her a quick death. I think he wants to torture her, capture her and torture her, so I don't think he's going to let it go just like that, just by shooting her down when she's not expecting it and killing her like that. I don't think so. It's not sadistic enough for him. We saw him with Martinez. We saw him with Pete and these other characters, and Merle, leaving him as a walker. I don't see it. But anyway, that's a video in and of itself. I'll probably do that within the next few days. The description for this episode reads, after things begin to calm at the prison, Rick and the group face imminent danger. So of course, the description is pretty self-explanatory. We know what's going to happen. We can see it in the promo. In terms of a sneak peek, there's usually a promo and 2 sneak peeks. This week, there aren't any from what I can see, which may not be a bad thing, because sometimes when they release a sneak peek of a really crucial scene, like they did in Season 3 for the finale, the part where the governor's men storm the prison, as a sneak peek, it takes away that awe of when we see it the first time. It's really cool to see the sneak peek, but when we're watching the episode, it detracts from the feeling because we've already seen it in the sneak peek before watching the episode. So that's why it's not necessarily a bad thing this season that they've really cut back on the amount of sneak peeks and trailers and stuff that they're putting out, versus last season where there used to be 2 every episode. At this time of filming, there are no sneak peeks uploaded that I could see, so maybe tomorrow or the next day there will be, but I can't comment on them now because they're not up yet. So hopefully there will be, and we'll see how that goes, but maybe not. Maybe there won't be at all. So in terms of a general predictions video and my thoughts on what we're going to see, it looks like it's going to be a crazy episode. It looks like it's going to be one of the best ever, and it's going to be probably what most of us hoped the Season 3 finale was going to be. And I really enjoyed all of these events taking place. I actually prefer the television series storyline version of the whole Woodbury versus the prison type thing, Governor versus Rick and their groups. I've preferred this version more than I did the comic book version, even though I liked the comic book version a lot. It was that story arc, that whole story arc in the comic book series, one of my favorite in all comic books I've ever read, maybe my favorite. But this, in the TV series, the changes they made, all the things that have happened with the governor, and this final battle, man, it looks like it's going to be nuts. So I just can't wait for it. I wish I could fast forward time to see it. And, that's pretty much all I got to say for this upcoming episode. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let's do some predictions in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are, and that's pretty much all I got to say for now. So look up for those 2 videos coming if you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to hear what I have to say each week and about the discussion videos, reviews, predictions. Feel free to subscribe. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.